Hi everyone, Bobby here. I just thought I would make this video so I could run through the tubular front subframe with everything, and to try and give a rundown of the bolts and the locations, so as you're putting it in you know exactly where everything goes, and it's to just try and log it to make sure that it helps you guys figure out all the placements. So if you take it down and you lose a bolt, you know exactly what to get. You can also message me for the details as well, and I'll try and give you as much information on this as possible. So what you see here is the 4-point race system. So you've got the 4-point underbrace and the cross member. So that is what you'll get with the 4-point brace race system. If you opt for the 2-point street version, you won't get the cross member and you won't get the 4th brace type. You'll only get the rear 2-point, and that's all you'll get. So you'll utilize your standard factory or slightly aftermarket cross member. So how it will come, most of it will get mounted together like so. So it already come mostly pre-bolted with most of the hardware in the locations that it needs to be. It's just much easier to package it that way, plus you guys get to see it as you take it out where everything belongs. The only thing it doesn't come is it won't come with the grease or copper seals in all of the threads. So make sure that anything you take out that's got an internal thread and you want to cover up, use whatever grease or copper grease you like using to make sure all the threads stay nice and they do not seize up. With that, what on the main frame, you'll get all of your M12 bolts and nylocks with the washers mounted in. Where it comes is going to be the factory mounting hole. So you've got 2 holes above, 1/2 inch each hole, and you've got 1 below it. But where it comes is where the factory hole will be. So you can adjust that depending on your needs and what you find works. On the rear here, you'll have your billet anti-roll bar bracket, which will come pre-bolted with 2 M10 socket cap bolts. On the steering rack side, you'll have 2 M12 bolts as well. These are 40mm long. They'll come with a washer and a Nord lock. Just a quick note on the Nord locks. Let me take it off of here. They always come glued together. You have to separate them, remove the glue, and then put them back together with the glue removed, because if you don't, they do not clamp up well. They stay the same and they can untighten themselves. So you have to make sure you get rid of all of that glue inside, then do them up. And that's on all of the Nord locks. You have to do that. I won't do that for you. You guys have to do that. Same on here. M12 40mm long washers, Nord locks. That's for the clamping pad. I haven't got the other bracket on here yet, but same. That'll come bolted up with the washers and bolts here. The 4-point brace will already come pre-bolted up for shipping. It's just much easier that way. And under it, you'll have M12 20mm long bolts, and they'll also have washers, but they'll have a spring washer underneath it as well. I haven't got a spring washer here to hand. Oh yeah, I do here. So they'll have one of these spring washers right here. So once you have done it up, it will just give a little bit of extra tension and just make sure that it's a bit more vibration proof, and you won't have any issues with that coming off. So the compression arms will mount inside this gap underneath it, and what you'll get is this is how they'll come with the bolts already in. Again, these ones have Nord locks that you have to separate, and then they'll go on the compression arm in a mounting. The outer chassis mounting will be the Shaw M12 metric fine bolt. These only come in black. So you'll have a thick washer and you'll have Nord locks on that. You'll also get your mounting sleeve, which I'll go over to this one, will recess into here, and then you'll have your washer which will go on top, and then your metric fine nylock which will then go on there onto the factory studs on the chassis. The frame will have these blocks, and then you'll have your metric fine and washer. So you'll have your washer inside, and then your nut, and then that will sit underneath inside here. Then that will get done up. And that's just purely to cover up more of the excess threads from the factory chassis, and then just helps prevent corrosion. On the subframe parts, you have two options. You have the polybush with the alley sleeve, or you have a solid alley roll stop. So depending on what one you opt for is what you'll receive. Right, the mounting pads, you've got rubber, which are flexible and soft and squidgy. Nylon, which will be, it's a little bit flexible, not as hard as alley and not as soft as rubber. Well, you've got the alley pads, which are solid, non-flexible, non-anything, it's just solid. You'll have 4 per set, but whatever one you choose is exactly what you'll get. You won't get all of them. You'll only get rubber, nylon, or alley, depending on what you opt for. They'll be placed on here and on here. Now, a good way to do it is when you're installing it, you can either put a bit of copper grease on the back of this and stick it on here so it doesn't fall off, or stick some copper grease on here or normal grease, shove it on the chassis, and then that will stay on there while you're installing the frame. That way these don't keep rolling off. On the front cross member, you'll get your M12 bolt, and then you'll have your washer and then your spring washer. So that'll just make sure it keeps it nice and taut, and it's also an extra anti-vibration proof system. On the front, you'll have your jacking pad with your bolt, and there's a spring washer underneath it. This won't come tight, so you have to make sure you check that, put your copper C's on the threads, and then do that up. On the front cross rail support, or where your core support is for your radiator, you'll have these M12 fine bolts, and these are 125 threads. These don't come with any locking washers or anything, they're just thick washers. They're 60mm long, and they'll go through here and just locate into your core support there. Again, with the kit, it will match with whatever the frame is. So if you opt for alley ones, you'll get your alley bushes, or if you opt for the polyurethane ones, you'll get your poly bushes with your aluminum sleeves. On here, you'll also note, which I haven't mentioned about, or you might be looking at it before you watch this videos, there's these threads here. They're M8 normal 125 threads. They don't actually get covered up or capped. They're purely there really for if anyone wants to use anything like a splitter and they want to have a mount underneath it, or they want to bolt something to it. I just put them there as a nicety, just in case you guys wanted to use something. So other than that, that is the 4-point, go away leaf, that is the 4-point race tubular front subframe for the 2G DSM with 4G based engines. So the 420A might come along depending on if the 420A chaps are interested. So I'll have to change a few things around, like the roll stop mount and the cross member, and then I have to change that slightly because this is a different shape. So yeah, that's it. If you have any questions, always feel free to give me a message and I'll run through things. If you do lose a bolt, most of the bolts are fairly obtainable. I haven't gone for anything super special. It's all readily available. Thank you very much for watching and hope that was helpful to you. I also have a video which we'll be posting up as well about installing the steering rack and the proper procedure with doing that. So yeah, that's it from me. Thank you very much. Take care. Hello everyone, I'm Bobby and I'm just going to give a demonstration on installing the power steering rack or depowered rack if you have one of them in the tubular front subframe. Now it's always best to install it after you've installed the subframe, so you've mounted everything up. The way you want to do it is you want to have this fully in this side. It makes life a lot easier and you're a lot less likely to scratch everything in this area here. So you can install it going front ways and you can install it coming from the back and twisting it around. Both ways work. I think going in front and then up is better. So what you'll do is you'll twist it. This is from underneath the car, so you'll put the front in to this side first, twist the bit forwards, and as you come around then you just twist it around and hold it, and then get your bolts in and then get your clamp over this side, and that is how you install the power steering rack. If you have any of the tie rod ends on the outside, you're going to make life very, very tricky, especially on the driver's side. The passenger side's not so bad because you can push it through. If it sticks a bit further out, you can get it through the subframe. So that's doing it by putting it forward. If I put it in and I come backwards, you have to work your way back a bit and then get it in that way. So both ways are achievable. You could come in from the front. It's a little bit trickier because of the back slopes down a bit quicker, but that is how you get the power steering rack inside the tubular front subframe. Thank you very much.